Okay, so I'm going to put a hyperlink below this video and you can see it. I'm going to refute Daniel Haqiqatjou on a point he made against Wahhabism. So his video is called Israel, Iran, War Part 2, and I'll put the hyperlink below this video. If you think that I'm misquoting whatever he said or taking it out of context, then please go and view the entire video on this particular point. So it starts from about 1 hour. And he speaks about Wahhabism and about killing those who do not accept the Wahhabi manhaj. He speaks about how Wahhabism is extremism because it selectively goes out and kills any Muslim that disagrees with the Wahhabi manhaj. Let's first take a listen to what he says.
Possible, like you're calling on a saint, and yeah, their inclination would be like, yeah, this looks like shirk, this seems like shirk. Yeah, that would be their response. And depending on the details, it very well could be shirk. This is what I've said constantly on this issue of istighatha, and that's my position. It's the position of many scholars, many ulama. But your problem is that you think that that's a Wahhabi answer, and that's not the Wahhabi answer. The Wahhabi answer would be that, yes, if someone did that, called upon a saint, while still believing in Allah as the one who grants it, the Wahhabi answer is that that person is a mushrik, murtad, who should be killed. And anyone who doesn't takfir that person, is also a kafir and should be killed. And if there's a land, if there's a group of people or a village or a city or an entire empire like the Ottoman Empire where that practice is not being takfired and the people who are doing it are not executed, they're all kuffar, and we're justified in waging jihad against them and taking their women and children, taking their property and enslaving them and slaughtering whoever resists. That's the Wahhabi answer. That you want to know that's the Wahhabi answer. And the fact that Wahhabis don't want to admit that is because they're dishonest. But look at what the founder of Wahhabism, Ibn Abdul Wahhab, he actually did. Look at his statements. Look at his mass takfir of all these regions, including Mecca. He mass takfired the people of Mecca. Okay, the people of Yemen, he mass takfired them, and him and his followers waged jihad. Okay, think about that for a second. Like, if you're an honest Wahhabi, Ahmad, you're asking this question. I appreciate the question. Do you think it makes sense to go to a village like Ta'if, like a major city like Ta'if, or even Karbala, or even Mecca, or in Sham, like to go to these villages in Sham and say that, well, in this location, these scholars of this location, they haven't adopted the position of our Shaykhul Islam Ibn Abdul Wahhab, and they're not takfiring the ones who are doing this kind of saint istighatha, like calling on saints. They're not mass takfiring them. Maybe they say it's haram. Maybe they discourage it. Maybe they recognize that there's extremism in that, but they're not doing it. Therefore, those scholars are kuffar, they're murtads, and the people of that land, the people in that location or that city, they're all murtadeen, and therefore we're justified to go with our swords and our weapons and to start killing them and conquering them, because they're just like the mushrikeen. They're actually worse than the mushrikeen.
Okay, I want to expose Daniel on this. So his position is that Wahhabism actually commands the killing of non-Wahhabis because they commit shirk and their blood is halal and they should be slaughtered. I have did an article response to this. I'll put a hyperlink below this video. I've refuted Daniel on this claim. And I showed how he completely exaggerated and butchered history. So my intention is not to defend Ibn Abdul Wahhab here, If you want to see a lengthy response to the history, visit the link below. But what I want to do here now is to expose Daniel on his position. This same person, Daniel, does mass takfir of Wahhabis. You know what he says? He says they're ISIS. They are ISIS, right? So when he calls Wahhabis ISIS, what is he doing? He's doing mass takfir. And that they should deserve to die. Why? Because when you label someone ISIS, who are you calling? What are you calling to happen to these people? To be imprisoned or to be killed? When you declare Adnan Rashid, for instance, a Wahhabi, you're saying that Adnan Rashid is also ISIS. So now you're calling the American government to go and execute him, to go and imprison him or kill him or use a drone to bomb him and his family. Why? Because Adnan Rashid and the Wahhabis disagree with the manhaj of Daniel Haqiqatjou. His Ikhwani manhaj. You know, that we should fight against the rulers. That any ruler, any Muslim ruler who associates or does business dealings with the kuffar, who ally with the kuffar, who benefit from the kuffar, are working with the Zionists, and therefore that government needs to be killed and overthrown. Right? So how is Daniel Haqiqatjou different from Ibn Abdul Wahhab? Right? Daniel is also calling for the Ikhwani movement to kill and fight against the ruler who is what? A Muslim. Right? So if he's a Muslim and if he's a Muslim ruler and he believes in Allah but he has a different aqidah from you, and his aqidah is to associate with the Jews and the Christians, he is now worthy of death. He's worthy of an uprising. So how are you different from Ibn Abdul Wahhab, Mr. Daniel? How are you different? And in this same video, listen to this. In this same video, he says that Mehdi Hassan is a Western prostitute. Right? Meaning that he sells himself, he sells his din, he sells his religion. Why? Because he says both sides are bad. He says that Hamas is bad, and he says the IDF is bad, Israel is bad. They're both bad, right? So here's my question. Here's my question to you. Doesn't Hamas go and kill women and children? Don't they go into a town and kill and exterminate all of them? Whoever they see in front of them, they slaughter? Because we're going to connect it with his point here. Have a listen.
And so we're more than justified in waging jihad against them, killing them and taking their property. Does that make sense to you? It's not like the Wahhabis were going under Ibn Abdul Wahhab and Ibn Saud to these villagers and giving each citizen an aqidah test. Like, what do you have to say about calling on saints? Oh, you think it's shirk? Okay, you're fine. We're not going to kill you. And then next person, what do you think about istighatha, calling to saints? Is it shirk? Oh, you think it is? It's not shirk? Okay, come here, I'm going to chop your head off. That's not what they were doing. They weren't giving these individualized aqidah tests. They were going to a region and killing everyone, like taking over without a single question, without a single interrogation, without checking their aqidah. Look at the history, bro.
Well, Daniel, that's exactly what Hamas was doing, right? They weren't giving these Jews an aqidah test on whether they support the IDF or don't support. Many of the Jews who died on October 7, yes, many of them were in support. A lot of them served in the IDF. But there were people there as well, especially in the concert protests, at the dance parties. There were Jews there who were against the IDF and who were against what the IDF was doing, against the occupation. So was Hamas going there and doing a Aqidah test in the sense of, I'm using Aqidah as sarcasm, but were they going there and saying, do you support the IDF, you don't support the IDF, and shooting and slaughtering according to that? No, they were just killing whoever in front of them. They were all part of the IDF according to the Hamas mentality. So, Daniel, you support Hamas, right? You support the resistance, right? But then you have a double standard on Ibn Abdul Wahhab. Apparently Ibn Abdul Wahhab didn't do an Aqidah test. He just went to a town and ransacked and murdered everyone. And you say that was evil. Suppose, let's grant that. Let's grant that to you. Let's say that's true. Let's grant that. But here you are supporting Hamas. Not interviewing, not going into a house and saying, do you support IDF? You don't support IDF. They were just killing. But you accept that. You justify that. You say, that's okay. You never speak against that. Now you may turn around and make a video and say, oh, I don't support that. Okay. Show me then. Where have you ever said that you condemn October 7? On the basis that all these Jews were slaughtered, despite some of them being against the regime, being against the IDF. Show us. So this is the hypocrisy. This is the same man that will actually, he actually said in this same video that he likes the fact that there's infighting even amongst Wahhabis, against Wahhabi states. For instance, in this same video, Daniel Haqiqatjou spoke about how the Saudi regime is bombing the regime in Qatar. And he's like, that's great. That's great that this is happening, right? You had to see the grin on his face. He's like, this is good in the sense that they're killing one another. At least we're getting rid of the cancer, right? So he gets happy of Muslims killing other Muslims. Crazy. And this is the man that criticized Imam Abdul Wahhab. This guy is more extreme than Imam Abdul Wahhab that he accuses of being an extremist. Unbelievable. So ask yourself the question, who is more of an extremist? Where he supports Hamas killing everyone, going into a town and killing everyone because they don't agree to their beliefs. Killing everyone, men, women, children, whatever, in front of them. There's no Aqidah test. There's no test whether they believe in IDF or whether they believe in Hamas ideology or whatever they believe in, right? Just exterminate, kill them all, right? And then he believes in the Ikhwan mentality. Kill the leader. Remove the leader. Right? He then calls anyone he disagrees with a Wahhabi terrorist, a Wahhabi ISIS, wants their families killed by the West and imprisoned, right? And then on top of that, he calls for the killing of Muslim leaders, right? An uprising against Muslim leaders. And you can't just go out and kill a Muslim leader. There's going to be resistance. We saw what happened with Bashar al-Assad. We saw the ongoing war that went for almost a decade. More than 500,000 Muslims got killed. Right? How many of them got displaced? Some of them had to convert to Christianity when they arrived in Europe. Right? But apparently, this is all justified according to the extremist Ibn Abdul Wahhab Daniel Haqiqatjou. He's a Wahhabi. This is all justified because you can replace the leader. You can fight against your own ruler. Right? Who is a Muslim, by the way.
right? So that Saudi king, who is a Muslim, makes the Shahada, but he's a Wahhabi, his theology is Wahhabism, he could be killed, and his followers can be killed as well. That means a civil war. That means hundreds and thousands of Muslims are going to be killed as a result, because if we believe in Daniel Haqiqatjou's Ihwani mentality of civil war, this is all justified according to his theology, so all of them can be killed in front of you and slaughtered, and their women can be taken as slaves, and their children, right, as concubines. And this person has an attack on Ibn Abdul Wahhab. How dare you? Shameless. Shameless, Daniel.